Hey Waffle Gang, I do hope you are well. My name is Mark and today we're checking out some more Reddit stories, and if you do love a Reddit story, why not consider hitting that like, subscribe, maybe that notification bell too, and let's crack on with today's first story. Much love, guys. Now today's first story is titled My 25 Female Boyfriend's 27 Male Best Friend 27 Male Cheated on his girlfriend of 5 years numerous times. Today I found out that my boyfriend knew about it and actually helped his friend cheat. My boyfriend Sami and I have been dating for almost 2 years now and have a wonderful relationship. His best friend John is really nice too, and I get along great with him. John had been dating Lauren for the past 5 years, and because our SOs are lifelong best friends, her and I also developed a good friendship. About 2 weeks ago, Lauren discovered that John was cheating on her with multiple partners. There was a ton of evidence and Lauren broke up with him immediately. I felt bad about the situation because Lauren had become a friend to me too. I talked to my boyfriend about how I didn't like the fact that his best friend is a cheater. I'm a big believer that the company you keep says a lot about you. He said that the whole thing had caught him by surprise too, but insisted that he and John were friends because they had similar hobbies and circle of friends, and he loved me too much to ever hurt me like that. Fast forward to today, when I called Lauren to meet up and have lunch sometime with each other. This was the first time I had called her after their breakup, and I wanted her to know that there was no reason why our friendship had to end. Lauren was furious on the line, saying stuff like, "How dare you call me after you helped him cheat on me? I thought you were my friend. You should have told me." I got her to calm down and explain that I had no idea that John was cheating, and if I had known, I would have told her right away. That's when she told me that my boyfriend Sami knew that John was cheating and had covered for John literally dozens of times. Stuff like, "Oh yeah, Lauren, John's at my house, we're hanging out, and John's at his nephew's baseball game. He said he'd be back around 4. Just blatantly lying to cover for his best friend. Lauren sent me pictures and screenshots that proved without a doubt that my boyfriend had known about it for years and actively helped his friend cheat on his girlfriend. I'm beyond furious. What the two of them did to Lauren is horrible, and I'm also scared, because if his best friend is a cheater, then he helped his best friend cheat. What does that say about him? He literally saw Lauren every single week and referred to her as my little sister, and had no problem looking in her eyes and lying. This all happened just today, and I'm seeing my boyfriend this weekend, and I'm literally angry to the point where I'm ready to break up with him. Am I wrong for getting mad at him over helping his best friend do something horrible?" Now look, OP isn't overreacting in this situation, and she's right to be questioning the whole thing. I mean, she's not punishing Sami for John's choice. She's identified that her boyfriend made loads of decisions over years to deceive someone she considered a friend, someone that he called his little sister, looked her in the eyes like OP said, and lied to her time and time again. I can imagine she's only looking at Sami now and thinking, is he actually telling the truth anymore? And the question that popped in my head, if Sami went and covered for John, is it happening the other way around at the same time? The commenter says to OP, "Damn, this is really bad. My first thought if I were you would be to wonder if John has ever covered for your boyfriend. This opens a huge can of worms. What else do they cover for each other? If I had a girlfriend cover like this for a friend, I'd be disgusted. It sounds like he did a ton too. I'd break up. This says a lot about his character. I'm sure he'll give you the whole, but I'm just looking out for my best friend nonsense. I wouldn't hear it. This would be an ender." Commenter says, "I wonder how many times John covered for Sami cheating." Nope, just added an unhappy face emoji to it, which, to be fair, a lot of people were asking the exact same questions, but OP came back in 2 months later and said, "Was initially going to see Sami just a few days after I found out what happened, but cancelled on him. I took the weekend to think, talk to a few friends, and read over the comments to my original post. After a bit of thinking, I decided to break up with him. Sami lied to me, lied to our mutual friend Lauren, covered up for cheating, and knew full well that his friend John was having sex with multiple girls and doing it, quotes, raw. He basically decided his friendship with a cheater was more important than Lauren being exposed to STDs. That was the deal breaker. I called Sami on Tuesday and asked him to meet up with me in a public place. When we got there, I told him what Lauren had told me. He initially denied, but I think he could see from the look on my face that I wasn't about to be fooled. He literally looked me in the eyes and said, "To be honest, wouldn't it be worse if I was the kind of pussy who didn't cover for his friends? Don't you want a man who is loyal?" God help me. I was upset talking to him, but he said that and I burst out laughing. What he was saying was just so ridiculous, but he said it as though he was a martyr. I stopped laughing after a second, but the look on his face changed completely. He leaned in and said, "You stupid bee. You think John was the only one fucking around?" He never cussed at me before or said anything with so much anger, especially not with the intent to hurt me. But for some reason, I just didn't care. I thought so little of him at that moment that his opinion didn't matter to me. It was actually kind of a comfort that he said that to me because it proves that he's a fuckboy. When people show you who they are, believe them. So I just got up and left. I picked up Chipotle, then went home and watched Making a Murderer. A few hours later, I called Lauren and explained to her everything that happened. She comforted me, then advised me to get tested for STDs immediately. She ended up coming with me for support to get tested, and then a week later, I got the results that I'm clean. And so is Lauren, by the way. And that was that. That bit where his face changed and he leaned in and said that to OP was pretty chilling for me. His character completely changed. And although it must have been pretty horrific in the moment, although OP said it didn't really affect her, it was good that OP actually got the truth out of him. Not that it would have changed things in the end. It seemed like OP was going to split with him anyway, but at least with that information, she was able to get tested and confirm that it's all good in the end. But what do you guys make of this situation? Let us know your thoughts down in the comments below, and let's move on to another story. Now, our next story comes from the What Should I Do subreddit. There is a trigger warning on it of sexual harassment and obsessive behavior and sexism as well. So if you do want to skip the story, please feel free to do so. Timestamps are always down in the description and along the timeline below. Thank you. It's from Enough Program 3994. And it says, "My 43 male friend's 45 male daughter, 18 or 19 female, keeps trying it on with me. I don't know whether to tell him or keep ignoring it. They're away for very obvious reasons. The past year or so, she started messaging me privately on Facebook and Instagram. I never post on either, just use them to watch videos of camper vans and woodworking. At first, it was innocent enough, just asking me to look at a friend's car for her and what she should get her dad for his birthday, etc. Then one night, her and her friends were out clubbing and went back to someone's house to party, and it was a bit more than they could deal with. She saw I was online on Facebook, a message saying she doesn't dare tell her dad where she is and can I come get them. I said yes and set off, but when I got there, she came out with her friends and said it was okay now, the people causing trouble had gone. I stayed talking to her and her friend for 10 minutes to make sure, and then left, but told her I'll stay up and if she changes her mind, ring me. I went home and made a cup of tea, and then she messaged me. It was a revealing picture of her and her friend I'd just spoken to. I messaged her back and I said I don't appreciate that. She apologized and said she got the wrong person. I ignored it and then don't hear from her for a couple of weeks until another Saturday night when she sent another photo and said this was meant for you. I ignored it and she replied the next morning saying it was a drunken dare and she's sorry. This started a pattern where it seemed whenever she was drunk she'd send photos, and then the next day she would apologize. That was until last summer when her parents threw a barbecue. I went upstairs to use the toilet. When I came out, she was on the landing and said she'd closed the baby gate at the bottom of the stairs so we'd hear if anyone opened it. I said no and went to move past her, but she put her hands on the wall and said she's not letting me past. Eventually she did, but she found it funny, and since then she's ramped up the messages. It's not just when she's drunk, and she's offering sexual acts for lifts and fixing cars. The other week she even turned up at my house and I told her I'm going to speak to her dad, and she said I can't now, it's gone on too long. And she's right, I don't know what to do. I never reply anymore, but she keeps on sending them. And then if it's about fixing her car, she'll get her dad to ask me so I can't say no. Before anyone suggests it, I don't want to sleep with her. I've known her since the day she was born. Fact about this one is, this is quite clearly sexual harassment, and it's going to get messier the longer it goes on. I think OP was handling it pretty well, you know, rejecting the photos, not engaging, all that kind of stuff. But that line about it's gone on too long to tell him now, about telling the dad, was just really worrying, because it's a huge red flag that says, you know, this isn't about being stupid, drunkenly stupid or whatever. That's some calculated thinking going on right there. She's created a trap where your silence becomes complicity, and that's really worrying. But I think the fact is, and it'd be bloody difficult, there's no doubt about that, but he does need to tell his friend, because the longer he waits, the worse it's going to get. But it really sucks that Opie's having to deal with that in the first place. But KT says, what would you want to happen if it was your daughter and a friend? Tell your buddy. Opie says, I'd want to know, but I'd also be incredibly suspicious he didn't tell me straight away. Playful says, so why didn't you tell right away? The only out you have is to tell your friend and hope they understand. Whatever your reasoning was for not saying anything sooner, but the longer you wait, the worse it will seem. Opie says, because I genuinely believed she sent it by mistake. Then I believed the drunk dare, but then I just thought if I ignored her, she'd get bored. But Opie comes in with their update, shares a link to the original post, and then says, hi everyone, and thank you for the advice and kind words on my original post. I really appreciate it. Just to clear a couple of things up. First, why I didn't block her. I'll paste a comment I made. The thing is, we were close. I thought of her as a niece. I've been to every birthday party of hers since she was born. I bought her first bike. I gave her boxing lessons when she was getting bullied at school. I took her to the cinema to see Frozen. I took her to a prom on my motorbike. I went with her to buy her first car, and I've done all the maintenance on it since. I'm heartbroken it's come to this. She isn't just some random kid I could block and forget. Secondly, people asking why I picked her up and didn't immediately tell her parents. I'll copy another comment I made. I've always said to her and my nieces and nephews, if you're ever scared or in a dangerous situation and you don't dare tell your parents, ring me and I'll help, and I'll keep your secret once. When I was younger, I got into a club when I was 15, and I ended up being drugged and taken back to a house, and even when I came around, I didn't dare ring my parents just in case I got in trouble for clubbing, and then things got a lot worse. I wanted her to know that if she was in danger or scared, she could rely on me. Something terrible happened to me because I was too scared of being in trouble. On to the update. I rang her dad yesterday and asked if I could see him and his wife. I got there and I didn't beat around the bush. I just said for nearly a year, Emily has been trying it on with me and sending me inappropriate messages and pictures, and I have screenshots of every message, but I deleted the pictures. There are plenty of messages from her though, referencing the pictures. I showed them everything and the dad stopped reading after a couple of messages, but the mum read them all, and then just said, it's something young women do, and we're both adults, so it's up to us what we do. What? I said I don't want to do anything, and I want her to stop harassing me. The mum just completely brushed it off and said, it's not harassment, it's just a young woman in heat. Ugh, bloody hell. And then it says, made her sound like a dog, she was the same at that age. We sat and talked about it for a bit, and I told them why I didn't say anything, and the dad said, she was never going to give in, she's like her mum. Then they just said they'll talk to her, but the mum told me to relax and not take it so seriously. My friend walked out to my car with me, and said he'll talk to his daughter when she's home and he's sorry, and now he knows why I've been blowing him off about doing the brakes on her car. I left feeling relieved that they knew, but a bit pissed off with the mum's reaction. Later on last night, my friend messaged me because he wanted to check her phone to see if there was other men, but the wife said no as she's 19 and they had no right. Emily did message me to apologize last night, but then she said she spoke to her mum and the offer's always there if I want it. Doesn't seem like anything has been achieved really, but at least it's not a secret anymore. H. Simpson says you did the right thing and it's out there in the open now. Probably don't want to put yourself in any situations where you're alone with her for a while and continue to ignore the texts. Right now it's a game to her. I'm guessing things will settle down in time as she matures and I'm hopeful it'll blow over. Opie says I'm just going to block her now and keep my distance from them all. Opie then found the post on Best of Redditor Updates and added a comment saying, I'm OP, and can I just add a comment about why I never blocked her at the start? I love that kid like a niece. I was there the day she was born. I changed her nappies. I've been to every birthday party from her 1st to 18th. I bought her first bike. I was with her at her first football game. I took her fishing when she was around 10 or 11, and we spent a full day catching no fish but having such a laugh on the riverbank and sharing cheese sandwiches and a flask of tea. I went to every single one of her ice hockey games. I took her to prom on my motorbike. Not as a date, we do things different here. I went with her to buy her first car and paid half towards it. I've done all the maintenance on it since. It's so upsetting to lose the person she was. Imagine watching someone grow from a baby into a woman and then just having it all shattered. She's genuinely one of 5 people I'd give my life for in a heartbeat without thinking. I'll be honest, I still cry every day that I've lost a niece and my friend of over 35 years. That's why I didn't block her or tell them straight away. I was hoping it was a phase and she'd get through it and we could all just go back to normal with no harm done. That didn't happen and now I've lost 2 people who meant the world to me. Then OP comments about the mum again, saying, I'm OP, and that really shocked me the most. I thought she was going to go nuclear on me as she's quite a volatile person, but instead she was so nonchalant. She was saying things like she can join the army or travel the world so she can decide who she has sex with. And as I was trying to get across to her, that's not the point, and she's not taking no for an answer, and she's creeping me out. I saw her at the hospital on the day she was born. I changed her nappies. Bloody hell, the line where it said she was never going to give in, she's like her mum, was doing a lot of heavy lifting there, right? But the mum, holy shit, that I'm not even going to repeat that line because it made me feel icky. It was such a dismissive thing to say to OP, who came and said all this, but it kind of pointed out to why Emily turned out the way she did. If her mum's response to your daughter sexually harassing a family friend is, don't worry about it. She's just frisky, relax, you found your problem right there, right? And part of the update was pretty heartbreaking, reminiscing about the old fishing trips and a flask of tea and sandwiches while catching no fish but having an absolutely wonderful time. And just knowing that that's all gone now, that's got to be heartbreaking. And I just wonder if the mum already knew about all of this, because she just seems, I know it's always difficult to read in text format, but seemed very just chilled out about it. But what do you guys make of this situation? Let us know your thoughts down in the comments below, and let's move on to another story. Now, quick trigger warning before we do get into this next story. There is discussions of abortion within the story, so if you do want to skip it, please feel free to do so. Timestamps are always down in the description and along the timeline below. Thank you. Now, our next story comes from the Off My Chest subreddit from Cautious Knight 7533, and it says, wife 32 female got pregnant after vasectomy and now wants to keep the baby. I fucked up really bad. My wife 32 female and I 32 male had always been happily child free. I even got a vasectomy done 5 months ago. The doctor told me to get a semen analysis after 3 months to confirm it, but my fucking ass ADHD brain completely forgot to do it. 2 months ago, my wife and I were drunk. I reassured her that I'd already passed the 3-month mark. We didn't need protection. She was out of the city for 2 weeks, visited her parents, so she didn't push me to double check everything. Neither she cross-checked the appointment, as she thought I'd already done the requirement and believed me, and we got intimate. My wife has mild PCOS, so her cycles were never regular, and we didn't think much of it, but 2 to 3 days ago, she started feeling nauseous, and we went to the doctor yesterday and found she's 7 weeks pregnant, and that too with twins. At first, she completely freaked out, but then when she saw the ultrasound and doc told us we're having twins while confirming 2 heartbeats, she got emotional and did a complete 180. Now she says she wants to keep the babies, and only because they are twins. She's given lame excuses that how she had a dream about playing with twins recently and has taken it as a sign, and how her motherly instincts are kicking in. What the fuck? I was and am child free. I wouldn't be able to fulfill any of my plans if we stuck with babies. I'm panicking and don't know what to do. We talked about it and she wants to go ahead, but has given me 2 days to decide. And I know I shouldn't be asking such questions here, but I don't know what to do. I'm freaking out. Opie gave a little line within the same post that said, "Update. After a lot of discussion with my wife, I came to the conclusion that we will go ahead with our twin pregnancy." Now, some of these comments might have been before that little update or whatever, but one of the commenters says, "Sadly, the marriage is doomed. If you are of strong child-free mindset, then you will forever resent your wife and children, and no child deserves that. If you convince your wife to abort, then she will forever resent you. The best way is to part ways unless you can figure out a way to embrace a life with kids wholeheartedly." Commenter says, "Freaking out. Seriously, man, you're in your 30s and you're acting like teenagers. Maybe talk to her and understand why she changed her stance now and listen to the reasons. Do a proper discussion. Put pros and cons on the table and then decide." A reply to the commenter says, "There are no pros and cons. Opie does not want children." Commenter says, "What's this sub's hatred towards child-free people? You guys are seriously so vehemently against people having a choice. I understand having kids was the best decision for you or whatever, but not everyone is you. Let people have a choice." Opie says, "Exactly, I posted here thinking I would get better advice from people in 30s. They're acting like boomers here." A commenter says, "You might have better advice in r/child-free India sub. If you both have always been child-free, your wife can't suddenly impose this on you, and I say this as a child-free woman myself. It's unfair and frankly selfish. Kids should only come in pictures with enthusiasm from both parents. I may get downvoted considering the kind of response you've gotten so far, but you need to talk to your wife calmly. Maybe get urgent appointment with a relationship therapist, but if not, be ready to consider divorce as an option. Because frankly, this is life-altering stuff and an absolute deal-breaker for anyone who's clearly child-free." Opie says, "I understand divorce is the way, but to be honest, I can't imagine separating from her. My wife has been an incredible partner to me and I love her to bits, so divorce isn't the option for me. I'm trying to make her understand about my situation right now." Opie then added another post saying, "My wife, 33 female, is 5 months pregnant with twins, but I'm not able to feel any connection. My wife, 33 female, and I, 33 male, were always child-free. But a sudden pregnancy happened due to a failed vasectomy, which was my fault. Surprisingly, she got pregnant with twins, and that made her do a complete 180 turn. She became hell-bent on having the babies, whether it's hormones or what, I don't know, but she didn't want to abort 2 fetuses at the same time. I think the fact that it was twins really changed her mind. I was very unsure back then and was leaning towards child-free. I never wanted kids, and this sudden pregnancy was a huge shock for me. I was still trying to process everything. Meanwhile, my wife gave me a few days to think, which was basically just more like time to agree with a decision. I agreed because I love my wife so much, and choosing to terminate the pregnancy would mean the end of our marriage. I didn't want a divorce. Anyway, we decided to go ahead with the pregnancy, and I got on board with it. My wife is 100% committed, and everyone in our family is extremely happy and excited. It's the first twin pregnancy in the family, so everyone is over the moon and keeps checking up on us. I've never seen my wife this excited and happy about babies. I can't believe she's the same woman who despised the idea of having kids just a few months ago. To be honest, I'm trying to step up. I take care of my wife and do everything she needs, be it preparing her favorite foods, giving her massages, maintaining her diet, and anything else she asks. I'm doing everything I possibly can to make sure she feels loved and cared, but I'm not able to feel any connection with the babies. I'm going to become a dad in 3 months, and it makes me so anxious that what if I feel the same disconnection after they are born? I'm reading books about fatherhood, learning how to be a good dad and how to manage twins, and watching videos about post-pregnancy care for my wife and the babies. But something inside me just doesn't feel emotionally attached. It feels like I'm doing all of this for the love of my wife rather than doing it for my babies. I know it's too late to change anything now, and she's already 28 weeks pregnant, but I don't know what I'm supposed to feel. I'm so stressed that I don't feel the same kind of connection or excitement like other dads-to-be feel with their babies. I don't resent my wife. In fact, I'm happy seeing her so happy. But with everyone around me being so excited, it makes me even more anxious. I'm scared that I won't be able to handle all of this." Commenter says, "Don't put too much on your shoulders. It's a lot to take in a short amount of time and a lot of adjustments. Please don't get stressed out that you're not emotionally attached to fetuses. That is pretty normal, even in men that actually want kids. You don't see the babies, you have no interaction with them. You are not the one growing them. They are, for you, an abstract concept that lives inside your wife but not in your life. You will see how you feel once the babies are born, and you spent a while interacting with them. Parental instinct rarely kicks in on day one. Give yourself grace and time. You don't have to be perfect. You just have to show up. That is already what you are doing 100%. Give yourself time, adjust your new life, and give it time to set in before deciding if having kids is too much for you. Opie says, I don't know, man. I see videos of pregnancy reactions, dads being elated, talking to the baby in the belly, happily doing everything for their child. And I don't feel anything at all. I'm still doing everything I need to do, and I will take care of my wife and the babies postpartum too, but I don't feel anything about becoming a dad. I'm anxious because in a few months there will be babies around me, and if I still don't feel anything then, that would be disastrous. I feel like I only agreed to this because everyone around me was happy and excited. Commodore says, how is a failed vasectomy your fault and not the doctor's? Opie says, it was my fault because my doc told me to get a semen analysis done 3 months after my vasectomy, but I completely forgot about it, and I just thought that after 3 months I can do unprotected sex. We were drunk as hell, so I was convinced the same to my wife, and she didn't bother to check appointments. So actually vasectomy didn't fail. It was my fault that I forgot about the semen analysis thing and did unprotected sex just 3 months after vasectomy. I curse my ADHD for it daily. I should have phrased my sentence better. And a commenter says, take a breath. At 5 months, it's still really new. You're seeing changes, but they are slow, and you don't get to feel what is going on. When they start to really move and kick, you may begin to feel something for them. Take this time and talk to them. Touch the belly, if it's okay with your wife, and spend as much time with her as you can, because soon those babies will consume your entire life. My husband was excited about becoming a dad for the first time, but like you, he couldn't really appreciate it because he wasn't the one gestating the thing. I'll never forget the love in his voice and tears in his eyes when he held his daughter for the first time and said, honey, I love you so much, but I love her. It may sound strange, but that was his way of letting her and I know he was over the moon happy that he couldn't express it any other way in that moment. Concern for future means that you care. You're obviously invested in the well-being of your wife and these babies. Talk about your feelings with a trusted friend or family member and give it some time. You may feel differently when you get to actually see the babies that are waiting for you. Opie says, my wife says the same, that once the babies will be here, I will connect to them and they will become my whole life. But the main issue about my anxiety is that others wanted kids and they acted upon it. I initially didn't want kids and never had such attachment with babies, so I'm just anxious whether I will develop it later or not. What if I still remain the same? That'd be disastrous. To have kids and have no attachment with them. And one more commenter who says, aren't you the same person who posted about unexpected pregnancy after vasectomy on 30's India sub some months back? I remember it because your username was cautious night something, lol, and this time your username is checking out. So which OP's username was changed to no connection. OP replied saying, lol, yes, I'm the one who made that post. I was too overwhelmed with the whole situation back then and needed space to discuss it anonymously. The username was given by Reddit at the time for my throwaway account, and ironically this time Reddit gave me the username Far Connections, something I edited it to No Connection, because that's what my situation is. Lol. And there was loads of back and forth comments on this one. Some people who are child-free themselves saying absolutely worst nightmare. Other people just wishing him well and, hoping it does go well. With one of the top commenters saying the next update will either be the happiest or the saddest thing ever for this couple. But what do you guys make of this situation? Let us know your thoughts down in the comments below. Now, just a huge thank you for being here today, getting involved in the stories, your love, your support, your time. It always means the absolute world to me. So thank you so much for being here. Truly, it's absolutely amazing. And hopefully, I'm going to see you in the next one. Take care and much love.